Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We're tackling those huge, fundamental questions today. The ones that, well, really sit deep inside, don't they? That kind of inner ache asking, why are we here? And maybe more urgently sometimes, what's the actual point of all this?
It's a question that echoes, right? And if you look at a lot of the traditional answers, they often fall into a pattern. Dr. Roy E. Richmond points out a pattern often rooted in, well, fear.
Fear? How so?
Think about it. Usually there's this idea of separation. We're here, God or source is way over there, distant. There's often a sense of a cosmic debt, something we owe, and we need to, pay up or sacrifice something to bridge that gap.
Yeah, striving to get back, striving for acceptance. It can lead to a lot of confusion, maybe even despair.
Exactly. Which is why we're looking at Dr. Roy's The Seed Principle today. It offers a really radical alternative. It doesn't begin with debt or separation. It starts with definition.
Okay, definition.
Defining what or who? Defining us.
Mm-hmm.
You, me, everyone listening. The core idea for you, the listener, is understanding who the sacred self truly is. According to this source, we weren't just thrown together as an afterthought or, worse, a mistake.
Right.
Instead, the source says we were birthed from the logos activity and movement of the breath of life.
Okay, hold on. Logos activity, let's unpack that a bit. What should someone picture when they hear that?
Think of logos as divine mind in action. It's the creative intention, the blueprint, the living dynamic energy of source itself. So if we're birthed from that activity...
It means we're not just passive statues created, but active extensions.
Precisely. Active extensions of source, here to actually make the invisible visible, tangible.
Yeah.
Our very existence is meant to be an expression of that divine movement.
Wow. Okay, so our mission for this deep dive then is pretty big. We need to unpack the seed principle, this idea of focusing on certainty, embodiment, transformation, to find the purpose that isn't outside somewhere we have to earn, but is already encoded within us.
That's the heart of it. It's like finding the answer already living inside the question itself. A kind of metaphysical shortcut, you could say.
Let's start with the core blueprint then, the metaphor of the seed. It's simple, right? We see it everywhere.
Exactly. And it applies across the board. Physical world, spiritual life. It's presented as a foundational law. Everything starts as a seed.
Like the classic acorn example.
Perfect example. That tiny acorn doesn't literally contain a miniature oak tree.
No.
It holds the incredibly complex, coded intelligence the blueprint needed to grow into a huge, mighty oak. The whole pattern is already there.
So applying that to us, to the sacred self, the idea is the Father Source didn't just scatter us like dust bunnies in the universe.
No, not randomly.
Yeah.
We're seen as a divine seed. Planted purposefully, planted in this field of time and space.
Intentionally. And crucially, that seed carries the whole pattern of divine likeness. Is that right?
Yes. Every aspect of the source, nature, compassion, creativity, wisdom, all of it is contained within that original code, that seed.
Okay, but here's where I imagine someone listening might push back. Hang on, if I'm just a seed, doesn't that still imply potential? Maybe I could fail, maybe I won't sprout, or maybe I'm just a bad seed.
And that's the absolute key distinction Dr. Roy makes. It's designed to lift that very pressure. The seed principle says the core reality within the sacred self isn't potential in that maybe sense. It's certainty.
Certainty, not maybe.
Certainty. The pattern itself guarantees the nature of what grows. An acorn will never produce a dandelion. It has to produce an oak. That's its nature.
So the divine seed, it can't produce separation. It has to produce union.
That's the logic. It must produce after its own kind.
That's really profound because it totally shifts how we think about worthiness, doesn't it?
Completely. It removes that whole burden of having to prove we're good enough or constantly trying to earn acceptance. The pattern is already certain. It's baked in.
The burden is lifted. Okay, so the question changes from if the divine nature is in me to
how. How do we allow that inherent divine nature, that certain pattern, to unfold, to reveal itself through us?
Which brings us right back to the purpose question. If the pattern is certain, why are we here? Why this life, this body, this earth?
Well, our current existence, this life you're living right now, your relationships, your job, your challenges, your joys, all of it is simply the soil.
The soil.
Yes, and it's not accidental soil, it's intentional. It's the necessary environment, the perfect conditions for that divine seed within you to break open, to germinate, and to fully express the life packed inside it.
Okay, so if the old answers to why are we here, where things like, passing a cosmic test or earning a ticket to heaven or just escaping this fallen world. The seed principle offers something totally different. What is it?
A different mandate entirely.
Yeah.
We are not here to prove anything. We are here to reveal.
Reveal what? Our true nature.
Exactly. To awaken to that coded nature we just talked about, and then to live consciously as expressions of that divine mind, that logos activity. Source, by its nature, expresses itself, and we are the way it does that in this dimension.
The focus shifts completely to embodiment then. That's a powerful idea. It means the goal isn't getting out of here. It's not about ditching the body or escaping Earth.
Precisely. We're meant to bring the abstract into the real, the invisible into the visible. It's about, as the Source says, living spirit's awareness in visible form. Right here, right now.
Turning heavens from some far-off place into a present reality through our awareness.
Yes, through our spiritual conscious awareness. Earth, time, our bodies, they aren't punishments or prisons. They are the gardens, the very place where the seed is meant to be nourished and cultivated. We're supposed to grow the divine pattern here.
That's a huge shift. Now, you mentioned the Source uses specific ancient terms to ground these ideas. Maybe we could look at a couple.
Yeah.
Why the word seed, for example, zera.
Yeah, looking at the original language really reinforces this idea of inherent life. The Hebrew zera. It's not just a physical seed like you'd plant in the ground. It means seed, yes, but also offspring lineage. It carries this weight of life already present, tracing directly back to the origin. It confirms the source pattern.
So it confirms the lineage is divine, meaning the code, the pattern, must also be divine.
Right. And then you have the Greek word, sperma, similar idea seed, but it also specifically connects to the principle of reproduction, the invisible code itself.
The code that reproduces.
Yeah. And when you put sperma together with logos, that divine movement or activity we talked about, the message becomes really clear. The code is already active, already reproducing the divine nature within the sacred self. It's happening now.
Okay, one more. What about the Aramaic term yahav? How does that play into this?
Yahad is interesting. It means to give, but also to allow or to permit. It paints this picture of the Father Source actively allowing, maybe even gently enabling this full awareness to unfold within us.
Not forcing it, but allowing it.
Exactly. It's not a demanding force. It perfectly fits this certainty model. Source allows the seed to grow because it is completely confident in the blueprint it placed within it. There's no need for force when the outcome is certain.
Okay, if we accept this framework, certainty, allowance, unfolding in the garden of life, we have to tackle the elephant in the room, the process itself. If it's all so certain and allowed, why does life involve so much pain? Why does the Source talk about the breaking of the seed as necessary? That sounds, well, painful.
It does sound painful, doesn't it? And it's completely understandable because in nature, that's exactly what happens. For the life inside the acorn to come out, that hard, protective outer shell has to break.
And that's where fear comes back in, defining that breaking as like divine anger or punishment.
Historically, yes. That interpretation gets layered on top. But Dr. Roy argues forcefully that the breaking is not wrath. It's not punishment.
So what is it then?
It's transformation. It's the necessary release of hidden life. Try thinking of it less like a punishment and more like a necessary cracking open, a death of the old container to allow the birth of the new, larger form.
The old container. So metaphysically speaking, what's the shell that needs breaking in us? What are we trying to break out of?
That shell, that husk, is essentially the accumulated baggage of separation consciousness. It's all the stuff we need to surrender. Old awareness, false identities, inherited consequences thinking, fear-based doctrines, and the illusions of separation.
Illusions of separation, like thinking we're fundamentally alone or flawed.
Exactly. It's that protective membrane we build around ourselves. The one that constantly tells us we're limited, separate, unworthy, or defined by our external circumstances. That's the husk that needs to crack.
Okay, that makes sense. So if I strongly identify with my job, for example, and then I lose that job, that breakdown feels intensely personal, like a punishment.
It feels like the universe is against you, right? But from this perspective, that job loss, that challenge to your core identity built around that career, it isn't necessarily a penalty. It could be the cracking of the husk.
The husk of that false identity.
Yes, the identity built on that external thing. The true life within you, the coded certainty, is being sort of nudged or even forced to send its roots deeper towards the unshakable certainty that exists independent of that job or that relationship or whatever external thing just broke.
Well, so we're meant to reinterpret suffering, move away from asking, why is this happening to me? Which implies we're just victims.
Yes. And instead, look for the deeper activity unfolding. Ask, what is this pressure awakening in me? These moments of pressure, disappointment, loss, they become the loosening of the soil, helping the roots go deeper.
It's all geared towards one outcome.
One necessary outcome, manifesting the divine nature activity already encoded in spirit seed. The breaking is at the point. It's the process by which life escapes its old, smaller limitations and grows into its fuller expression.
And the source uses biblical stories as pictures of this, right? Like Israel in the wilderness.
Yeah, the wilderness wanderings aren't seen as just punishment for complaining. They picture the difficult, necessary process of breaking the illusions of slavery, of dependence on old, limited ways of thinking and being.
And Jesus as the first fruit.
The perfect picture, according to the source, of the consecrated messenger. The fully manifested seed, showing everyone else in the garden what's fundamentally possible for them too, what belongs to us all. The breaking is just life overcoming form, again and again.
Okay, this leads us towards the final stage then, fulfillment, or what the source calls the harvest. Now, if the seed is certainty and the process involves this transformative breaking, how does the seed principle redefine the end game, the harvest? Because traditional views often paint a picture of, a final, maybe scary judgment day.
Right, and that traditional view again stems directly from that fear-based model built on separation and performance. The seed principle completely reframes harvest. It is not a judgment day based on how well you performed or whether you passed the test.
So what is it?
Harvest is awareness ripened into union.
Awareness. Ripened into union. Wow. Okay, what does that look like, especially on a collective scale?
It's the realization, spreading through consciousness, that we are and always have been intrinsically connected, kin, with the Father breath, with Source. It's the full integration of spirit and matter, the invisible and the visible.
So concepts like the New Jerusalem, they aren't about a physical city floating down from the sky.
No, not a literal city we escape to. In this view, the New Jerusalem represents the collective awareness of spirit descending into visible reality. It's consciousness itself aligning with its true nature, its true home, right here, within embodied existence.
And when consciousness aligns like that, what kind of fruit does it produce in our actual visible lives? What does that look like day to day?
The fruit is simply the manifested Logos life. It looks like love in genuine action, not just sentiment. It looks like wisdom guiding our choices, our movements. And it results in a foundational peace, a stability that isn't dependent on whether things are going well externally.
That sounds like what the source calls living heaven on earth.
That's exactly it. When your inner awareness and your outer actions perfectly match the divine blueprint within the seed, you are embodying heaven here.
So let's circle back to those massive questions we started with. Why are we here? What is the point? According to this seed principle, the answer is surprisingly straightforward.
It is, in a way. Profoundly simple, yet deeply actionable. The point isn't suffering for its own sake or paying off some cosmic debt or passing a terrifying final exam that maybe only a few can manage.
That point is?
The point is simply to bear fruit after our own kind. And our kind is the kind of source. As we awaken to that seed of certainty within, we naturally begin to reproduce the source's inherent nature. Compassion, creativity, wisdom, union. We become, in our own unique ways, those consecrated messengers right here in our daily lives.
And achieving that, living that, it hinges on making that crucial shift in awareness that Dr. Roy talks about, especially when challenges hit.
Absolutely. It's about consciously moving away from that old default, often victimized perspective of, why is this awful thing happening to me?
And shifting to?
Shifting to the aware, engaged perspective. What is this situation trying to awaken in me? That single shift fundamentally reframes our entire experience of life. It moves from random struggle to intentional, purposeful unfolding.
Okay, so to really bring this all together for everyone listening.
The purpose, ultimately, for the sacred self is complete embodiment. Spirit isn't waiting to live through you someday. It is living through you right now.
Yeah.
This Garden of Earth is actually designed to perfectly reflect the Garden of Spirit. And the whole point of life, the whole journey, is simply unfolding that seed until the reflection is complete, clear, and vibrant.
And the source itself offers this really clear, direct message, framing it as the voice of Spirit speaking. It says, you are here to reveal me. You are the answer to your own question.
For you are my expression. That's powerful. The confusion, the ache, the despair we started with. It only hangs around as long as we believe the answer is somewhere else hidden in the future or in a distant heaven or dependent on someone else's approval.
But the answer is encoded right here, right now, inside you.
Exactly. So perhaps a final thought for you to really sit with, to reflect on. If these pressures and challenges in life truly are just the cracking of the husk, as this source suggests, take a moment. What illusion, what old awareness, what false identity might be actively breaking open in your life right now?
And maybe more importantly, what specific life, what aspect of that certain divine nature is seeking to emerge through that very cracking? How does knowing the seed is certain change how you show up today as a consecrated messenger right where you are?